Most wealthy people don't look rich because compounding doesn't create spectacle. It creates quiet freedom. That's the part nobody tells you. The internet trained an entire generation to think wealth is loud. Fast cars, penthouse views, Rolex collections, a guy yelling about passive income while standing next to a rented Lamborghini in Miami. But real wealth? Real wealth usually looks painfully ordinary. It looks like someone driving the same Toyota for 12 years, even though they could buy a Mercedes tomorrow with cash. It looks like automatic deposits into an index fund nobody talks about at parties. It looks boring. And that's exactly why almost nobody becomes wealthy. Because the process feels too slow to be working, right before it changes your life completely. Tonight, I want to show you something strange. How a completely average person with an average income can quietly build enormous wealth without stock picking, crypto trading, or trying to outsmart Wall Street. No fake guru fantasy, just math. And honestly, the math is more powerful than most people realize. Section 1. The Trap. It's usually late when the panic starts. You're lying in bed, scrolling through your phone, watching people your age supposedly making $40,000 a month trading options from a laptop in Bali. Everyone online seems ahead. Somebody bought a McLaren at 23. Somebody retired at 31. Somebody turned $5,000 into $500,000 trading meme coins. And meanwhile, you're staring at your savings account, wondering if you're already too late. That feeling destroys more futures than bad investments ever will. Because once people believe they're behind, they start making desperate decisions. That's when normal investing suddenly feels too slow. And slow is a hard sell in a world addicted to instant results. But here's what almost nobody understands. The biggest advantage in investing isn't intelligence. It's survival. The people who build real wealth aren't usually financial geniuses. They're the people who stayed consistent long enough for compounding to finally become visible. That's it. That's the secret nobody can sell in a course because it sounds too simple. Section 2. The Invisible Phase. Compounding has a psychological problem. For years, it looks broken. Imagine someone starts investing at 27. Nothing crazy. They put away $500 a month into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. No stock picking, no leverage, no day trading. Just automatic investing every paycheck. After 1 year, they've got maybe $16,000. After 3 years, around $35,000. After 5 years, roughly $55,000 to $60,000 depending on the market. And this is where most people mentally collapse. Because 5 years feels like a long time. 5 years is enough time to expect your life to look different. But compounding doesn't reward impatience early. It rewards endurance later. So people quit right before the curve bends. And that bend changes everything. Because somewhere around years 10 to 15, the math starts behaving differently. Suddenly, the market is contributing more than you are. Your investments begin growing faster than your savings. And for the first time, your money starts working harder than you do. That's the moment most people never reach. Not because it's impossible, because they stopped too early. Here's the uncomfortable truth about investing. The more exciting it feels, the more dangerous it usually is. Real wealth creation is repetitive, almost offensively repetitive. Buy, hold, wait, repeat. That's why low-cost index funds quietly outperform most professional investors over long periods of time. Not some of them, most of them. The average person imagines Wall Street as a building full of geniuses beating the market with secret information. But year after year, the majority of actively managed funds fail to outperform simple index funds after fees. Think about how absurd that is. Teams of analysts, Bloomberg terminals, Harvard MBAs, millions spent on research, and many still lose to a fund that simply buys the whole market and does nothing. Why? Because complexity often creates mistakes, and mistakes compound too. Most people think investing is about finding the perfect stock. It isn't. The real battle is behavioral. People panic during crashes. They chase hype during bubbles. They sell low because fear feels logical in the moment. Then they buy high because greed feels safe once everyone else is optimistic again. It's the same cycle over and over. And the market punishes emotional decision-making relentlessly. The strange part is that the best days in the market often happen immediately after the worst ones, meaning the moment people are most convinced they should sell is usually the moment they most need to stay invested. But emotionally, that feels impossible. Because humans evolved to escape danger, not sit calmly through a market crash. Which means successful investing is often an exercise in acting against your instincts. Here's where the story changes. People massively underestimate small, consistent contributions. Because small numbers feel irrelevant in the present. But compounding stretches small decisions across decades. And decades magnify everything. An extra $200 invested every month might not feel life-changing right now. But over 30 years, that decision alone can grow into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not because the monthly amount was huge, because time multiplied it. That's what people miss. Compounding is not about intensity, it's about duration. The market rewards consistency with a force that almost feels unfair, but only after enough time passes. And time is exactly what impatient people refuse to give it. The internet sold people a fantasy version of wealth. But real wealth usually looks invisible. The millionaire next door often doesn't look like a millionaire at all. They look normal. That's what makes this difficult psychologically. Because humans compare visible lifestyles. And the visible lifestyle is often financed with debt. Meanwhile, actual wealth hides. It sits quietly inside retirement accounts, brokerage accounts, paid-off homes, and decades of disciplined behavior. A person making $70,000 a year while consistently investing can eventually become wealthier than someone earning triple that income who spends everything trying to appear successful. That's the irony. Some people buy luxury to look rich. Other people buy assets and quietly become rich. One gets attention immediately. The other gets freedom eventually. Nobody talks enough about how emotionally difficult long-term investing really is. Not technically difficult, emotionally difficult. Because the process feels boring while everyone else appears to be getting rich faster. You'll question yourself. You'll feel behind. You'll watch speculative assets explode while your index fund crawls upward. And during those moments, discipline feels stupid. Until eventually, the math catches up. Then suddenly, the same boring strategy that felt pointless for years starts producing serious wealth almost automatically. That's when people finally understand compounding. Too late. Because by then, the hardest part is already over. Most wealthy people don't look rich because compounding doesn't create spectacle. It creates quiet freedom. Freedom from debt. Freedom from panic. Freedom from needing to impress strangers online. And maybe that's the biggest misunderstanding about wealth in modern culture. The goal was never the Lamborghini. The goal was control over your time, the ability to wake up without financial fear, the ability to say no, the ability to stop pretending. And the strange thing is, that kind of wealth is usually built in silence. One automatic investment at a time. One boring year at a time. One decade at a time. So if you feel behind right now, remember this. Most fortunes look unimpressive while they're being built. That's why almost nobody notices the process until it's finished.